Our first topic for our technical training on advanced technologies for commercial food retail is Commercial Refrigeration Installation and Servicing Training Regulation. This is to be discussed by Mr. Manuel Azucena, the Director of Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Technician for Development of the Philippines, or RACTAP. Please let us all welcome Mr. Manuel.
Hello. Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the introduction. And to start with my presentation, I would like also to thank Mr. Yan for giving me the opportunity to share in this technical forum. I was given the task to present about the commercial refrigeration on the TESDA side. As one of the industry partners of TESDA, the RACTAP, or Refrigeration Air Conditioning Technicians for Development of the Philippines, would like to share some of our activities or accomplishment in terms of commercial refrigeration in the Philippines. As mentioned, TESDA is one of the one of the prime partners of this project. Now, TESDA is the training arm or the government institution which is dealing with the technical education and training towards this project. So the question is what is the direction of TESDA towards flammable refrigerant? Okay. But to give you an idea, TESDA was created, TESDA, or Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, was created by a law, the Republic Act 7796, or TESDA Act of 1994. So TESDA's main mandate is to provide a relevant and efficient, accessible, high quality training, technical education and training for middle-level skilled manpower, which is in line with the Philippine development goals. Also, TESDA under the Republic Act 7796, or TESDA law, there is a section in the law which states that TESDA is also mandated to conduct competency and certification. First, the authority, when I say authority is TESDA, the authority shall develop and implement a certification and accreditation system, wherein this certification assessment system has been in place in TESDA for a long time ago. It's just being developed again, redeveloped and updated. Also, it says here that private industry groups and trade associations, like our association in refrigeration air conditioning, may be accredited to assist TESDA in the conduct of competency assessment. So we're not just doing the competency assessment, conduct of competency assessment, but we also develop the assessment instrument wherein it will be validated, and once it's validated, and it will be put in place. It says the local government units is encouraged to promote the assessment and certification activities, which is set by the authority. Now if you're going to put up a workshop, you have to ask for a business permit. You have to secure a business permit from the local government. And one of the requirements now being asked by the local government is the certification from TESDA, that the technician or the one who will implement the servicing, he should be certified by TESDA. And all the certificates relating to the national assessment, because this is a national assessment, the certification, shall be issued by authority through its TESDA Director General or TESDA Secretariat, which is represented by Director General. At present, it's Secretary Sidla Peña. Now, training regulations. This is one of the important documents if you are dealing with training, assessment, and certification. At present, we have developed around 5 training regulations. This one in the screen is like the training regulation for domestic refrigeration, or DOMRAC. The other one is a commercial air conditioning installation. and the other one is commercial refrigeration installation and servicing. If you will note, what is the readiness of TESDA in terms of flammable refrigerants here? In domestic refrigeration, we are now dealing with R600A, while in commercial air conditioning, in the train regulation, we are now dealing with R32 and R290. And in the commercial refrigeration, we will be dealing with R290, 404A, 134A. So we are not just promoting one type of refrigerant, but other available refrigerants. So what is this training regulation? So training regulation is a very important document. It has 4 sections. Just to explain a bit about training regulations. It has 4 sections. Section 1 of the training regulation is the description of the qualification. For the qualification of commercial refrigeration, air conditioning refrigeration, it says here that the commercial refrigeration deals with installation, servicing of commercial equipment ranging from 3 TR or tons of refrigeration and below. So that's the description. Now, what is this Section 2? Section 2 is a package of competencies. In the commercial refrigeration, there are 3 main competencies: the basic, the common, and the core competencies. If you want to be certified, or if you want to finish a course of commercial refrigeration, you have to possess all of these competencies. But the main competencies here are the core competencies. So it also says here that after you completed all the competencies here, you can be a commercial refrigeration mechanic or commercial refrigeration technician. Another section is the training standards. Okay, what is this training standards? All of the contents here, the take-off point is the competency standards. So almost all things written here are anchored to the competency standards. For example, the curriculum design. A school or a training center, if they will design a curriculum for their training centers, it should be anchored with the competency standards. So it also consists of training delivery, qualification of trainers, entry requirements for the students or trainees, and also the facilities. So, and also the institutional assessment approach. So take note, institutional assessment approach. Okay, and the other one is the assessment and certification arrangement. Okay, so Section 4 discusses about the national assessment and certification. In the previous the previous section, it says institutional assessment. So if you undergo an institutional assessment, it doesn't mean that you are already a national certified student or technician. So you have to undergo national assessment. So national assessment can be taken by those graduates of formal courses or informal courses, short courses, or also those working experienced workers who has not undergone any formal training. As long as they can fulfill all the requirements in the stated in the competencies, then they can be issued a national certification by TESDA. Okay, now TESDA's readiness in terms of flammable refrigerant in commercial refrigeration. Okay, this document here is a national assessment, a draft of the National Assessment Assessor's Guide. So it was updated last October 2019 up to present, because training regulation is somewhat like being updated every 5 years. But if there's a need for an update because of the fast changing, in technology, so the TESDA and the industry can convene again to update the training regulation. Okay, the content of assessment instrument, if you will look at this one, so there are 2 ways of gathering evidence: the written test, and the other one is demonstration with questioning. So the candidate or the assessee, we call them candidate, should fulfill all these competencies or elements here for you to be candidate for national certification. Now for the flammable refrigerants, if you look at this one, we have we have an activity here which says recover and recycle refrigerant. This one is for the HFC, like 134A, 4048. But if you will be dealing with flammable refrigerants, for example, R290, it says here, activity should be vent flammable refrigerants in a safe manner. So it will be observed by the assessor on how he will vent flammable refrigerant like R290 in a safe manner. So everything, even the documentation, even troubleshooting is also included here. Okay? This is an example of the activity that a candidate will be performing. This one is an instruction to the assessor, and this one is an instruction for the candidate. So if you will be taking commercial, or if you will be assessed in commercial refrigeration, you have to perform all of this. So you will perform pipings, you will do unrolling, flaring, brazing, leak testing. So you will also perform recovery of refrigerants, leak testing, evacuation, charging. If you're dealing with HFC, you will perform recovery, leak testing, vacuuming, charging. But if you will be dealing with hydrocarbon, you will vent refrigerant safely, then you will evacuate, you will leak test, you will charge. And then after that, you will record the parameters. After performing all of this, the assessor will recommend you for either an issuance of national certification or not. If you look, there is a competent here and not yet competent. So we don't have pass or fail. We only say competent or not yet competent. If you're not yet competent in one of the activities here, then maybe you will repeat the assessment again and until you fulfill all the required, the requirements in the assessment instrument. And this one document is the CARS or Competency Assessment Result Summary. Once a candidate took the assessment certification, the result will be placed here, whatever the result is. If the result is competent, then the assessor will recommend to TESDA for you to be issued a national certificate. It's like this. This national certificate is a well-protected certificate. TESDA is using a security paper here, just like because the paper is coming from Central Bank of the Philippines. So the paper is somewhat like a paper used for producing money. Then all the competencies are stated here in the certificate. Your picture is placed here. Then you have the validity. You have the certification number, and you have a seal. So it's well secured, and there's a control number here. Now, I interviewed some of the companies in refrigeration and asked them what is the use of national certificate in their company. So during our interview, one of the companies says that the national certificate is being used by their employee as a document for promotion. So if you wanted to be promoted to another level, for example, if you're a helper and you want to be promoted to a technician, then you have to produce this national certificate. Other companies says that it is being used as a basis for permanent position in the company. So if you would like to be permanent in the company, then you have to produce a national certificate. Okay, and also if you are, as I mentioned, if you are putting up a workshop, one of the requirements by the Department of Trade and Industry, even in the local government, is for you to present a national certificate from TESDA. Okay, so there are so many uses of this national certificate. Now, if the technician or an employee will present a national certificate to the employer, and the employer would like to know if the certificate is authentic, valid, no? So he can go to the website of TESDA through the RWAC, or Registry of Workers Assessed and Certified. So you will just type the name, the last name, and the certification number, and you can verify if the document is really authentic or not. Because nowadays there are some incidents that happen that the national certificate of TESDA is being produced by some scrupulous group, no? Because having a national certificate is really a prestige for a technician. Now, some companies or even training centers, assessment centers, they say that with this changing of technologies, it will be very expensive. Why? Because training will become expensive because the training center will produce new equipment. Because you cannot use the old equipment with these new refrigerants, new tools. Some of the tools cannot be used for R290 or flammable refrigerants. Instruments like that is being used for HFC and HCFC, you cannot use that with a hydrocarbon-based system because of the flammability issue. No? Like the vacuum pump, you cannot use an ordinary vacuum pump if you will be dealing with R290. You should use an ATEX compliant vacuum pump, just like the vacuum pump that was given to TESDA by the GI set during the training on commercial air conditioning way back in 2018. There will be new approach in installation and in servicing. They said it will be very expensive because once a technician will go to a certain servicing, he must carry with him a fire extinguisher. He must carry with him a ventilator, if the site is not properly ventilated. So new knowledge and skills. So all of this, it will become very, very expensive. They say it will be very hard. And I agree with them. The training will be very expensive. Proper training will be very expensive. But you have to invest. Why? Because if you think that proper training is very expensive, then you try ignorance, which is more expensive than training. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening.
Hello, Manuel. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Manuel. Thank you very much for your presentation. This is Devin with the Cold Chain Innovation Hub communications lead. And, I just wanted to say, from a global perspective, we really see that training is really one of the barriers and one of the challenges that not only, developed countries, but countries around the world, in order to adopt this new infrastructure, this new cold chain infrastructure, training is a barrier. But we see now that there are steps being taken to develop the standards and the regulations in the Philippines. One question that I wanted to ask very quickly was, we have a lot of stakeholders joining us on the call today, everyone from manufacturing suppliers and educational institutions and international development agencies. What can people do to help support what's needed to help people get the proper certification and training for this new technology in the Philippines?
Okay, thank you, Devin, for your question. Actually, the training regulation is already in place in TESDA. So all training centers that will offer commercial refrigeration should follow the new training regulations because it has been validated, it has been presented for a consultation meeting, and it was adopted by the TESDA board. So all training centers that will offer commercial refrigeration should be anchored with the new training regulations. And also for the assessment, I have to announce that by end of this October, the validation for the new assessment instruments for commercial refrigerations, which will deal with flammable refrigerants, will be held tentatively by the end of this October. So there's a group working on the validation, but it's almost on the finishing stage.
Okay, so it's very soon. Actually, it's October already,
Yeah.
so we're looking forward to that. Yeah, that's great. That's good to hear, and I'm sure that that's going to be helpful information. Manuel, if you could move one slide forward, we can show everybody your contact information and your email address. And I'm sure if people have additional questions, they can reach out to you directly. I want to say thank you again for taking the time to present to us today. I think that was very helpful information. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.